Go ahead, George. Ryan is like not
talking. What you want me to? What you want me to?
Using your platform.
I have a lot of things in my mind now, you know.
So I keep introducing George's TikTok famous because he has over 1 million followers on TikTok. So he routinely pops up like addressing trolls, right? And just having really difficult conversations with people. And I even heard you backstage like having that difficult conversation. And I think that you're uniquely situated as a heterosexual black man to have that conversation, particularly with other men and other black men. So how do you keep leaning into that conversation despite like all of the madness that people are throwing your way in social media?
Can George share TikTok? Because I want to follow right now.
Yeah, do your shameless plug. This is also
yeah, I guess.
will also be famous.
Yeah, shameless plug. Into right now, while we having this conversation, it's been over 100 people that tapped in live. Y'all, the whole conversation is on live. I'll be sharing it with y'all. The Consciously on TikTok. When I first got into, I feel like academia, when I first fell in love with learning, I came across the dude, Huey P. Newton. Huey P. Newton was the co-founder of the Black Panther Party. And he has this quote that I feel like I really heard it for the first time in my life, and I incorporated it. He said that power is the ability to define the phenomenon and make it active. Everybody going to TikTok now. But he said that power is the ability to define the phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. And what I do on my platform is I try to give people the ability to define the phenomenon to make it act in a desired manner. The thing that's been coming to mind when everybody's been talking this past few minutes is the concept that I call plantation politics. And I think that as black people, a lot of us are lost in the sauce of what I call plantation politics. We have too much value on this archaic understanding of productivity, and we weaponize that productivity against individuals who are not seen as productive. May it be, you feel me, reproduction in terms of making more black people, or in terms of value and standards. What I recognize when it comes to the plantation politics, a lot of us have not freed ourselves from what Massa taught us. You feel what I'm saying? A good nigga is a nigga that can be reproductive. So you have internalized the idea that if a black person cannot be reproductive, they are no longer a good nigga. And I'm sorry that I'm giving to you like this, but I think that it's important that I talk to you in this way because I also recognize that we've been conditioned to view Ebonics, view slang, view African-American vernacular English as being not productive. So when you come across educators like myself that speak that shit how I speak it, you want to denigrate my intellect or denigrate my knowledge because you are lost in the sauce of productivity. And when we have an intersectional understanding about, you feel me, different identities, what I know about black people is we so beautiful because we are positioned in multiple ways. We all don't sex the same. We all don't praise the same. We all don't dance the same. That's what's lovely about us. What happens is we start to internalize that plantation politics that say in order for us to be productive, we got to be this way. In order for you to be valuable, you got to be that way. And what happens is when you don't conform to what other black folks say you're supposed to be doing, violence happens. That's what we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with all of us being displaced by violence. The first question they asked was, how do we understand safe spaces? As a cisgender black man, I see that word as a white liberal, you feel me, buzzword. In an anti-black world, I don't know what it means to be safe as a black person in an anti-black world. So if I start to become more intersectional, what does it mean to be safe in a world where you're black and trans and woman and you got a life expectancy of 32, 33, whatever they call it for the day? My whole point in this rant is that when I talk about power, and Huey P. Newton says that power is the ability to define the phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner, my question to all of you, how are you defining the phenomenon and how are you implicated in the phenomenon? I know on my platform, I'm a black person that's 6'1" with dreadlocks that speak with a little Ebonics and twang that can say words that have a few different syllables in it. And the world has taught us that niggas ain't supposed to be able to speak the way I speak. The question becomes, though, how you define the phenomenon. When I'm dealing with those trolls are an attempt to try to define the phenomenon unconsciously. They're not used to people being, you feel me, masterful and being able to say, you got me effed up, this is what I said. My only point in this is that the reason why I do what I do, how I do it, is because I believe in every bone in my body. If some of us ain't free, then none of us is free. I'm gonna repeat that, because I really believe that with my whole heart. If some of us ain't free, then none of us is free. In a moment where blackness and being pro-black is trendy, a lot of us have tricked ourselves into spraying white supremacists or spraying blackface on white supremacy and calling it pro-black. A lot of people in our community do that. And I think that my purpose is just to make sure when we talk about the multiplicity of black community and the beauty of our community, that we account for black trans, black lesbian, black disabled, black poor, and we recognize the multiplicity in blackness and black people. That's how I reimagine the future. Thank y'all for having me.
You might as well just drop
But the play, no. Hey, education is elevation.
Going next question to the well, of course.